जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारी यमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ जय राधा गोपीनाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ बलदेव मैया सुभद्रा जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव ओ निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की श्रील प्रभुपाद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So I am truly honored to be here amongst all the devotees today. And I am really grateful to His Grace Sandeep Krishna Prabhu for giving me this opportunity by which I can serve all of you and as well as purify myself by speaking something on the topic of Sri Jagannath Ji. So earlier this week I was hearing a class by one of the sannyasis of ISKCON, and in this class very interestingly Maharaj was mentioning that one of the most important limbs in our devotional life to progress on the path of bhakti is eagerness to hear. That is very, very fundamental principle of devotional life, the eagerness to hear. And unless we develop that eagerness, progress on the path of bhakti becomes very, very slow. And Maharaj was giving the example of when Shukadeva Goswami was speaking Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj on the banks of the Ganges. So not only Parikshit Maharaj was the only audience, but there were thousands and thousands of other sages who had arrived there, and that too uninvited. Nobody went and invited those sages to come there and sit for 7 days and hear Krishna Katha. They all came there uninvited. Why? Because they had eagerness to hear. And it is not that the sages were all very free, they had nothing to do. No, they were very busy in their own sadhana, in their own austerities, in their own, in their own processes. But still they gave it all up and descended down from various planets on the banks of the Ganges where Shukadeva Goswami was speaking Bhagavad Katha. And Shukadeva Goswami was just like a 16-year-old boy. So they came there unconditionally. So while coming on the banks of the Ganges, the sages did not think whether there will be Mahaprasad after the Katha or not. They did not think, oh, it's raining too much, so maybe I'll just sit at my home and then I'll go later. They did not think that, the sages were very much accomplished in their own sadhanas, in their own mystic potencies. Like we hear about Vyasadeva giving Divya Drishti to Sanjay. Sanjay, sitting in the palace of Dhritarashtra, could actually see what was happening on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. That was the potency given by Vyasadeva to Sanjaya. And these sages who assembled on the banks of the Ganges, they were also similarly accomplished. They could have sat at their own homes, and by their mystic potency, they could have heard what's going on between Parikshit and Shukadeva Goswami from their homes. But did they opt for that? No. They came physically, to be physically present in the association of Parikshit Maharaj. So that shows how important it is to come in the association of devotees and hear Krishna Katha. So that is eagerness to hear. And we need to develop that eagerness to hear in order to progress on the path of bhakti. And this reminds me of a very, very beautiful shloka from the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein Prithu Maharaj, who is a pure devotee of the Lord, is asked by the Supreme Lord to ask for a benediction. So Prithu Maharaj, although he could have asked anything, and the Lord could have awarded him, Prithu Maharaj could have asked the position of Indra, he could have asked unlimited amount of material wealth, he could have asked for unlimited fame and beauty and all the material amenities that he wanted, or any man could want. But instead, what did he ask? Now, Prithu Maharaj, being a pure devotee, could have also asked for liberation, that I do not want to live in the material world, because, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukha Dosha Anudarshanam. But he did not even ask for that. Prithu Maharaj very interestingly asks for 1,000,000 years. How many years have you got? 2 years. And Prithu Maharaj is asking for 1,000,000 years. And what is the purpose behind them? He wants these 1,000,000 years just so that he can hear Krishna Katha more and more. That is the reason he is asking for 1,000,000 years. You see, a pure devotee of the Lord is so much attracted by the glorious pastimes, the glorious names, forms, qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord, that he has so much inclination to hear about the Supreme Lord. And it is a direct indication on how much we are progressing on the path of bhakti. More the eagerness to hear about Krishna, to come in the association of devotees, that means lesser the eagerness to enjoy material enjoyments. So it is inversely proportional. So it is like an indication for how much we are progressing. So with this little introduction, let us begin our topic for the day, which is Lord Sri Jagannath's Katha. So since Rath Yatra is coming very soon, it is on coming Friday, right? So we will discuss something about the Rath Yatra pastimes of Lord Jagannath. So Lord Sri Jagannath ji, his beautiful deities are situated in the most holiest dham, Jagannath Puri. And Lord Jagannath's deities as well as Lord Jagannath's dham is very, very unique and very, very merciful. Lord Sri Jagannath, if you have seen his deities, his eyes are so very big. And the Acharyas explain that the eyes are so very big because Lord Jagannath, when he sees some devotee perform a little devotional service, those big eyes magnify that little devotional service and are eager to bestow the merciful glance on that devotee. And his dham also is very, very potent and very, very merciful. It is explained in Skanda Puran that in Jagannath Puri, walking is like doing parikrama of the holy places. You walk and you are getting the benefit of doing parikrama. Eating anything is like eating prasad. Because Jagannath ji in Jagannath Puri doesn't wait for the offering to come at his place. As soon as it is prepared, Jagannath ji with his big eyes glances upon it and devours it all. So that is the mercy of Lord Jagannath. And Skanda Purana also goes to the extent that when one sleeps in Jagannath Puri, that is like offering obeisances. You get the same benefit of offering obeisances to the Lord. So that is the mercy of Lord Jagannath and his holy dham. So we will now look at a brief history of Rath Yatra. So all of us know that after the Mahabharat war ended, there was a very, very big solar eclipse that took place. And this solar eclipse was considered to be very inauspicious. And during solar eclipses, in the Vedic times, people would go to a place called Samanta Panchaka, which is in Kurukshetra. So when this solar eclipse appeared, all the kings from various parts of the world, they gathered at this place called as Samanta Panchaka at Kurukshetra. And amongst all those kings were the residents of Dwarka also. Lord Krishna came along with his 16,108 wives. And when this news reached Vrindavan, the Vrajvasis were also very eager to come to Samanta Panchaka, because Krishna left them almost 112 years back. Krishna was there in Vrindavan for like 11 years, 52 days approximately. And after he left, he did not return back to Vrindavan. And now, when the eclipse occurred, Krishna was almost 125 years. So by that calculation, Vrajvasis were separated from Krishna for about 112 years. And that's a lot. So they were very eager to meet Krishna again and to have his darshan. So all of them decided that we will also go to Samanta Panchaka and have darshan of Lord Krishna. So Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Maiya, and all the residents of Vrindavan, especially the gopis who are very dear to Lord Krishna, all of them arrived at that place. And when they met each other, they were in so much ecstasy. The gopis met Krishna at a very, very secluded place. And when they looked at Krishna, they were not jubilant, but rather they were feeling much more separation from him, as they were feeling when they were in Vrindavan. Why? Because the Krishna that they saw on the land of Kurukshetra was quite different from Krishna which they were used to see. Because here in Kurukshetra, Krishna was wearing a very big crown on his head. He had silken clothes and he had very opulent garland around his neck, and he was wearing various jewelry. And the gopis, they were habituated to see Krishna like this. Krishna is wearing a simple dhoti with a uttari, and his head is decorated with peacock feather. And Shukdev Goswami actually gives a description of this form of Krishna. He says, Barha pidam natavara vapuhu karnayo karnikaram bibhrad vasah kanaka kapisham vaijayanti chamalam randhran venor adhar sudaya purayan gopa vrindai vrindaranyam swapadaramanam pravishad gita kirti. Shukdev Goswami describes this beautiful form of Krishna in Vrindavan. He says, Barha pidam natavara vapuhu. Krishna's head is decorated with a peacock feather. And not just one. There are so many peacock feathers upon Krishna's head that if somebody sees Krishna from very far, it appears that the peacock is sitting on somebody's head. That many peacock feathers are there on Krishna's head. And he is the best amongst dancers. Natavara vapuhu, karanayo karnikaram. His ears are decorated with karnikara flowers. And Bibhrad Vasah Kanaka Kapisham, he is wearing a yellow garment which is as brilliant as lightning. And Randhran Venor Adhar Sudaya Purayan Gropa Vrindai, he is carrying a flute. His holding the flute upon his lips, and he is playing on the flute so beautifully that it is captivating the hearts of all the residents of Vrindavan. So this is the form the gopis were used to see, and they were attracted to see Krishna in this form, and this is the form which the gopis would embrace, which the gopis would serve this form. But now when they see Krishna on the land of Kurukshetra, a kind of reverence comes in their hearts, because now they can't embrace Krishna as they would embrace in Vrindavan, because Krishna is like the king, and you can't just go to a king and embrace him, isn't it? So a kind of awe and reverence comes in the hearts of the gopis, and they long so much to take back Krishna to Vrindavan so that they can have the same pastimes they would have so many years back. So thinking like this, the gopis in their heart of hearts, they create a chariot in their hearts, and within their minds they pull Krishna upon this chariot. And Krishna sitting on this chariot is then pulled by the gopis in their hearts from Kurukshetra to Vrindavan. So this is the mood behind celebrating Rath Yatra. Rath Yatra is a time when Lord Krishna is pulled by the residents of Vrindavan from Kurukshetra to Vrindavan. And in this mood, devotees celebrate Rath Yatra all across. In the mood of the Vrajavasis, wanting Krishna to come back to Vrindavan, wanting Krishna to come back to Vrindavan and perform his sweet pastimes there. So this is the mood, and this is the pastime which is related with the performance of Rath Yatra of Sri Jagannath Ji. And Jagannath Ji is also a deity who is in separation. We all know the story how Jagannath Ji appears. In Dwarka, Rohini Mata is explaining the pastimes of Krishna's childhood to all the queens of Dwarka. And as she is describing, she warns Subhadra and all the other queens that if Krishna hears these pastimes, I do not know what will happen. So somebody should stand at the door and guard the door so that Krishna doesn't happen to hear the pastimes I am describing. So as she is describing the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, all of them become so absorbed, and even the gatekeeper, who was Krishna's own sister Subhadra, she also becomes so absorbed that they don't know when Krishna came. And Krishna is also there. Krishna is standing on one side of Subhadra and Baldev is standing on the other side of Subhadra, and the pastimes are being narrated and everybody is so absorbed. And when Krishna and Balram and Subhadra hear this pastime, they are so enamored and they are so in separation with Vrindavan that their eyes become very, very big. Their smiles become very, very broad, and out of ecstasy their hands and legs shrink. And this is the form that is manifested during that time. And this is the form that is manifested in separation from Vrindavan. Because as Rohini Maiya is explaining the pastimes of Vrindavan, Krishna and Balram are feeling the separation from the Vrajavasis. So Jagannath Ji's form is a form of separation. And Jagannath Ji always wants to go to Vrindavan. So this desire is fulfilled by the devotees by putting Jagannath Ji in the Rath and pulling him to Vrindavan. So in Jagannath Puri, the temple of Jagannath Puri is considered to be Kurukshetra, or from the pastime of Rohini Maiya, it can be also considered as Dwarka. And about 9 kilometers from Jagannath Ji's main temple is a place called as Gundicha Mandir. And this Gundicha Mandir is considered to be Gupta Vrindavan or hidden Vrindavan, or it is considered non-different from Vrindavan. So the Rath Yatra that happens in Jagannath Puri is from the main temple of Jagannath Ji to the Gundicha Mandir, because main temple is considered to be Kurukshetra and Gundicha Mandir is considered to be Vrindavan. So before Rath Yatra takes place, there is the building of the Lord's chariots. So all the 3 chariots, they are made from a special tree called as Fasi, and around 600 of these trees are used. for building these chariots. And this construction of these chariots is done by a particular community of devotees. Only they will be the ones engaged in building the chariots of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. Nobody else can participate. That is the exclusive right of that community to build the chariots of Jagannath. And in building the chariot of Jagannath, there is no architectural design involved. Now they are building such a huge chariot without any architectural design or any kind of modern equipment like you have grinders and cutters and etc. etc. No such modern equipment is used. All traditional equipments are used. And all the chariots, they are made without using a single nail. No iron is used. No nails are used. To join two pieces of wood only is used. It is 100% made out of wood. And then it is wrapped around with beautiful cloths. So can you imagine joining two pieces of wood without a nail? That seems impossible, but that has been done through ages in Jagannath Puri. And this collection of wood, it is done on Vasanta Panchami, which was on 3rd Feb this year. And on Akshaya Tritiya, which was like 30th April this year, construction begins. And nearly 125 carpenters are engaged. 1072 logs of wood are used, and 1090 meter cloth is used for wrapping the chariots of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. The chariot pulling ropes, they are made out of coconut fiber, which are 240 to 250 feet in length and 8 inch in dia. 8 inch is like how much? This much. So big ropes made out of coconut fiber. And the chariots are constructed within approx 44 days. Because the Rath Yatra happens on Ashad Dvitiya, the second day of Ashad month. So from Akshaya Tritiya to Ashad Dvitiya, that's almost approximately 44 to 50 days. Within that period, they have to design. Without any architectural designs, they just make it. Here is a small description of the three chariots. Lord Jagannath's chariot is called as Nandi Ghosh, and its charioteer is Matali. So there is a deity of Matali on the chariot. And it has 16 wheels, and each wheel is 7 feet in dia. Now I am almost like 5 feet 10 inch, so 2 feet above my head. That is the size of the wheel. And all these 16, each of these 16 wheels have 16 spokes. It is about 50 feet high, and 832 pieces of wood is used for this chariot. Lord Baldev's chariot is called Taladhwaj, and its charioteer is Daruk. It has 14 wheels, again 7 feet dia, and each wheel has 14 spokes. It is 47 feet high, and 763 pieces of wood are used for building this chariot. Subhadra Devi's chariot is called as Darpadalan, or it is also known as Padmadhwaj, and the charioteer is Arjuna. It has 12 wheels, each wheel has 12 spokes, and each wheel is again 7 feet in dia. It is 43 feet high, and 593 pieces of wood are used. So before the Rath Yatra, there is a very wonderful pastime that happens in Jagannath Puri, which is called as Snana Yatra. Now this Snana Yatra is the day when the original deities of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra were installed by King Indradyumna. That was like lakhs and lakhs of years back. So originally when Jagannath ji appeared on this earthly planet, the deities were put on a very, very high platform, and the lords were bathed with hundreds and hundreds of pots of soothing, calm and cold water. And this Abhishek, the lead pujari or the lead brahmana for this Abhishek was Brahmaji. And Brahmaji was assisted by all the various demigods like Indra, Chandra, Varuna, etc. So all the demigods headed by Brahmaji performed first Snan Yatra of Lord Jagannath when the original deities were installed under the care of Indradyumna Maharaj. So from that day onwards, every year on the same day, which is Jyeshta Purnima, Lord Jagannath ji is bathed with soothing waters. It takes place on Jyeshta Purnima. And after the Snan Yatra, Lord Jagannath ji is dressed in a very, very peculiar dress, which is called as Gajavesh. As you can see in the photos, Lord Jagannath and Baldev and Subhadra Maya they are decorated like an elephant. And there is a very beautiful pastime behind it. So the pastime is something like this, that there was a Brahmana known as Ganapati Bhatta, who was a very, very ardent follower of Vedic scriptures. And through his extensive study of the Vedas, he concluded that the Param Brahma, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, should be in the form of an elephant. And that's his conclusion. That's what his conclusion was, that the Param Brahma is in the form of an elephant, or Ganeshji. And then he happened to read Skanda Puran, and in Skanda Puran it is mentioned that the Supreme Lord has appeared in Purushottam Kshetra, or Jagannath Puri, as Lord Jagannath, and he is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. And anyone who takes even the darshan of that Supreme Lord becomes immediately liberated. So this Brahmana was very, very eager to go there and have darshan of Lord Jagannath. So he comes to Puri and he takes the darshan of Lord Jagannath on Snan Yatra day. That's the day when he reaches there. But then he sees that Jagannath ji, or the Supreme Lord, or Parabrahma, who is situated in Puri, is not in the form of an elephant. So he becomes disappointed, because his conclusion was that the Supreme Lord is like in the form of an elephant. So he becomes disappointed and he starts going back. But for the day he resides in Puri. And now Jagannath ji, who is there in everybody's heart as Paramatma, Ishwar Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. Krishna says, I am seated in every living entity's heart. So Jagannath ji as Paramatma could understand this disappointment of Ganapati Bhatta. So Jagannath ji appears in the dream of the chief head of the security of the king. And he tells that there is a person, there is a Brahmana whose name is Ganapati Bhatta, and he is disappointed and he is leaving Puri without having proper darshan. So you bring him back to me, let him have my darshan. And this chief head of the security, he is in so much ecstasy because he just had darshan of Lord Jagannath in his dreams. So he immediately wakes up and he goes and finds Ganapati Bhatta and tells him, he actually practically drags him back to Lord Jagannath. And as soon as Ganapati Bhatta looks upon the beautiful forms of Lord Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra, immediately Lord Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra's forms transform into the form that you can see in the pictures, like elephants. And then Ganapati Bhatta is very, very satisfied. He understands that this is actually Parabrahma. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in commemoration of this pastime, after Snan Yatra, every year now Jagannath ji is dressed in this Gajavesha form, which is very, very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. And after Snan Yatra, what happens is Lord Jagannath falls sick. Because usually when a person takes bath, he will take bath with the water which is equivalent to a bucket. But now Jagannath ji is bathed whole day, because so many devotees are coming, and if he is just bathed for some time and taken back in, then the rest of the devotees will not get his darshan. So the whole day Lord Jagannath ji is bathed with hundreds and hundreds of pots of water. And after being bathed like this, Lord Jagannath performs the pastime of becoming sick. And from Jyeshta Purnima to Ashad Pratipada, which is like 15 days gap, Lord Jagannath ji falls sick. And during this period, nobody is allowed to have darshan of Lord Jagannath. And this period of 15 days is called as Anavasara Kal. Avasara means opportunity. Anavasara means no opportunity. because devotees don't have any opportunity to take darshan of Lord Jagannath. So that period is called Anavasarkal. And during this Anavasarkal, because the Lord is sick, so a sickly person will always remain in the inner quarters of the house. He will not come out and meet the guests because he is sick. So in that mood, Lord Jagannath ji doesn't give darshan to anybody. And during these 15 days, a specific community of Shabaras, they worship the Supreme Lord during those 15 days. And Lord Jagannath, although he is habituated to eat a lot of bhoga, it is said that Jagannath ji is offered so much bhoga that his fingers doesn't dry. When you eat and you are finished eating, you sit for 2 minutes and your fingers become dry, isn't it? Unless you wash them. But Lord Jagannath ji is fed so much bhoga that it is said his fingers doesn't dry. That means one after the other bhogas keep coming. But although he is so habituated to eat so much of bhoga, during the 15 days gap, he is fed only medicinal herbs and kashai, and you all know what sick people have, isn't it? So those are the only things that are given to Lord Jagannath. And Jagannath is very, very sick. And one time what happened was, one of the devotees of ISKCON happened to visit Jagannath Puri during that period of Anavasarkal. Because they actually went for Rath Yatra, but they arrived early when the Anavasarkal was going on. And this devotee was a doctor by profession, and because he would visit Jagannath Puri very often, he had good connections with the Pandas over there, the pujaris of Jagannath. So he happened to meet one of the pujaris of Jagannath temple at night. And this pujari, this Panda of Jagannath temple, he said that Lord Jagannath ji is very, very sick. And you being a doctor, please come and diagnose him. And please prescribe some medicine for our Lord. He is very sick. And this devotee, he plays along. He doesn't think, in his heart of hearts, he is thinking that how can the Supreme Lord fall sick? He is the Supreme Lord. But because the Panda has called, so he starts playing along. And he goes into the inner chambers of where Lord Jagannath ji is there. And the pujari, the Panda, tells him that you please diagnose him, check his pulse. Let us know how Jagannath ji is feeling. And this devotee, although he is not so convinced in his heart that the Lord is sick, he has got fever, but just to play along, he starts touching the body of Lord Jagannath. And as soon as he touches Lord Jagannath, he gets the shock of his life. Because the body was so hot, so burning hot with fever, that he could not even touch the body of Lord Jagannath. That's how hot his body was. That's how much fever was Jagannath ji had caught. And this devotee, he actually understands that it is a true fact that Jagannath ji has fallen sick. And he is in so much ecstasy that he runs out of the temple and comes at the quarters where His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was residing. And he bangs on the door of Maharaj in the middle of the night. Maharaj opens the door, and this devotee in so much ecstasy, he says that Maharaj, I had been to Jagannath temple, I have seen Jagannath and touched his body, he is burning with fever, he has fallen sick. And Maharaj, with a broad smile on his face, he says, yes, he actually is sick. We must have faith in our hearts. And in this way it was confirmed that Jagannath actually falls sick. It is not something concocted. It is the pastime of the Lord that he falls sick. And when he is sick, the acharyas explain why he becomes sick, or why he doesn't give darshan for the 15 days. So in Jagannath Puri, the Lord is so merciful that his temple has no timings in Jagannath Puri. If you all have visited Jagannath Puri, you will know the temple doesn't have any timings. It can open anytime, the altar can open anytime or close anytime. And the Lord is so merciful that he can give darshan till late at night also. He is standing with his open arms to welcome his devotees and cast his merciful glance on the devotees. So he is so much engrossed in giving his darshan to the devotees that Lakshmi Devi doesn't get any private time with Jagannath. And she is upset. I mean, which wife wouldn't be? Now, her husband is mostly engaged in giving darshan and reciprocating with the devotees. So Lakshmi ji thinks that when will I get some private time with my husband? And to give that private time to Lakshmi Devi, Jagannath ji then, for this Anavasar Kal, he doesn't give darshan to anybody. Those 15 days, he is exclusively there with Lakshmi Devi performing his eternal pastimes. So this is another internal reason why Jagannath ji doesn't give darshan during Anavasar Kal. So during Anavasar Kal, towards the end of Anavasar Kal, there is another very important pastime that takes place. So now the Pandas of Jagannath ji are worried. Jagannath ji is not getting better. So they have a specific kind of oil which is prepared 1 year back. Now for this year's Jyeshtha Purnima, the oil would be made 1 year back. And this oil is made out of 100% pure quality chandan, not the ones that we get in the market. 100% pure quality chandan is used to extract this oil. And so many other herbs and so many other sesame oil is used. And so many other ingredients which have a lot of fragrance, they are used. And the oil is churned. And for 1 year, it is buried under the earth. And during the Anavasar Kal next year, this oil is taken out from the ground, and with this oil, Lord Jagannath's body is bathed. Lord Jagannath's body is massaged with this oil. And when the body of Lord Jagannath is massaged with these oils, the fever immediately comes down. And one of the Pandas was explaining to one of the devotees of ISKCON that this oil has so much fragrance that this Panda, he was saying that when the other Pandas bathed the Lord with this oil, I was just standing nearby. And some small droplet sprinkled upon my body of that oil, scented oil. And for 8 days, that fragrance remained upon my body. Just by standing at a little distance from where the actual bathing of the Lord was taking place. Little droplets, and the fragrance remained for 8 days. You can imagine how fragrant those oils will be. And what to speak of those who are actually bathing the Lord? Whole year they will not have to use any deodorant or any kind of perfumes. And the next year again they will bathe, so again the fragrance would continue. So in this way the Lord is bathed and the fever comes down, and once the fever comes down, the Lord is excited again, excited to give his darshan to the devotees. And on Ashad Pratipada, the first day of Ashad month, Lord Jagannath ji is brought again onto the altar. And he is now very, very beautifully decorated and dressed, because after a gap of 15 days, he is going to meet his beloved devotees. So he wants to give a feast for the eyes of devotees. And because of that, he is dressed in a very, very beautiful form. As you can see in the picture, he is dressed with all kinds of, decorations. And this feast for the eyes is called as Netrotsav. Netra means eyes and Utsav means festival. So after 15 days, Anavasar, there is Jyeshtha Pratipada, and on Jyeshtha Pratipada, Netrotsav takes place. And the next day is Rath Yatra. So the whole day Lord Jagannath ji is giving darshan to his devotees. And not only whole day, whole night also. That is probably the only day only night when Jagannath ji doesn't sleep. Because Jagannath ji is so excited, because he knows tomorrow I am going to Vrindavan. So he is so excited that he doesn't fall asleep. Like kids, when they have picnic the next day, the previous night they are very, very excited. And they will not sleep only. how much hard you try, they will not sleep only, because they are so much excited to go on a picnic tomorrow. So similarly, the Lord in that same mood is very, very excited that he is going tomorrow to Vrindavan. So he doesn't fall asleep. So whole night he gives darshan. And that is called as Netrotsav. And on next day, that is Ashad Dvitiya, second day of Ashad month, Lord Jagannath Ji's bags are packed. Lord Jagannath has his own paraphernalia, his clothes and the items of worship and etc. etc. So because he is going out, he is traveling, because a sick person, when he is been at home for 15 days, he naturally wants to go out and feel the fresh air and roam about, isn't it? So Lord Jagannath also had been sick for 15 days, and he also wants to go out and give his unlimited mercy to the devotees. So on previous day, that is Netrotsav, when Lord Jagannath Ji is dressed and decorated, he is also fed lots and lots of bhoga, because for 15 days he had only been having medicinal herbs and kashaya and all those food items that a sick person eats. But now, because he has recovered, now his hunger is multifold now. So he is fed with so much bhoga. And in that bhoga, there is also something very, very unique. And that is, the Pandas serve Jagannath Ji coconut water mixed with camphor. And that beverage becomes very, very intoxicating. So Jagannath Ji drinks this coconut water mixed with camphor, and he is intoxicated. Transcendentally, of course, not intoxicated like people of this world. He is transcendentally intoxicated. And in his intoxicated state, he is then taken out from Jagannath temple and put on the cart of Jagannath, on the carts. So that process is called as Pahandi Vijay. Pahandi also means walking intoxicatedly. Now, because Jagannath Ji had drunk that beverage, he is intoxicated. So he is walking like maddened elephant. He is shaking to and fro, and a person who is intoxicated cannot walk in a straight line. So he is moving and to and fro. If you have seen Pahandi Vijay of Jagannath, how Lord Jagannath swirls or swivels here and there. And he is, first of all, when the Raths are made ready, first person to come out is Lord Baladev. And Lord Baladev is also intoxicated. So he also comes swiveling here and there, back and forth. And the Pandas, they say from their realization that we are doing nothing. We are just touching our hands to the forms of Baladev. It is Baladev who is moving as per his own will. That is what the Pandas say. And after Baladev comes and sits on his cart, Tal Dhwaj, then comes Subhadra Maiya. So Subhadra Maiya also is intoxicated. But because she is a female, she doesn't swivel in, because there is people around. So to maintain that etiquette, she walks straight and comes and sits on her cart, which is known as Darpadalan. After Subhadra Maiya, Lord Jagannath sends his Sudarshan Chakra for the protection of his little sister. So Sudarshan Chakra comes and is situated on the Ratha of Subhadra Devi. And after Sudarshan comes, in a grand procession, Lord Jagannath Ji is brought out. And when he is brought out, hundreds and thousands of musical instruments are played, and very, very big sound occurs at that place. And you can see here so many devotees surrounding Lord Jagannath, and he is decorated with this very huge kind of a crown which is made out of decorative items. And Lord Jagannath Ji, because he is so intoxicated, he is swiveling back and forth, to and fro. And slowly he comes, and he is then taken on to the Rath. And sometimes it so happens that Jagannath's deity is so heavy that the Pandas cannot carry Jagannath in one go. So they carry Jagannath for a little distance and keep him down. then lift him up, carry a little and keep him down. But they can't keep Lord Jagannath's transcendental body on bare ground. So there are very, very opulent cushions made. And these cushions are kept on the ground, and Lord Jagannath's deity is kept on those cushions. Then lifted and carried for some distance, again those cushions are placed. And sometimes it so happens that because of the weight of Jagannath, these cushions, they burst, and all the insides of the cushion, they start flying here and there in the air because of the weight of Jagannath. And sometimes it so happens that because Jagannath ji is so much excited and in ecstasy of going to Vrindavan, that in ecstasy Jagannath ji faints and starts falling down. And as he is falling down, what happens is the Pandas, they have a certain basuri in their hands. And they start touching this basuri on the body of Jagannath ji, and they cry out, Kaliya, Kaliya, please wake up. It is not the time to sleep. It is the time to go to Vrindavan. Wake up, wake up. And out of love, they call Jagannath ji as Kaliya over there. So they say, Kaliya, wake up, wake up. It is not the time to sleep. And then Jagannath ji wakes up and again gets onto the Rath. And now all three of them, all four of them actually are situated on each of their Raths. And at that time, there is another custom that is followed, which is called as Chhera Pehera. And this Chhera Pehera, the custom is that the royal family, the heir of the royal family, will come and sweep the floor in front of Lord Jagannath's cart. So the broom that is used has a golden handle, and the heir of the royal family will come in a big palanquin followed by the procession, and he will come and take the broom in his hand and sweep the floor in front of Lord Jagannath's chariot, indicating that actual king is Jagannath, actual royalty is Jagannath, and I am nothing, I am just insignificant servant of Lord Jagannath. So in that mood, the royal family, the heir of the royal family will come and sweep the floor. That custom is called as Chhera Pehera. This was about 1 or 2 years back. The royal family, the heir of the family, he is coming and sweeping the floor in front of Lord Jagannath's cart. And there is a very beautiful pastime associated with this Chhera Pehera, which is the story of King Purushottam Dev. So in Orissa, about in the 14th or 15th century, there was a very great king called Purushottam Dev. And this Purushottam Dev was a very great devotee of the Supreme Lord, Jagannath. And when the time arrived, he was engaged to the daughter of Kalinga province, and whose name was Padmavati. And Padmavati's father, King Salevu Narsimha, he agreed upon for this engagement and later on the marriage. So after the engagement, King Salevu Narsimha wanted to decide a date for the marriage. And then Purushottam Dev told that Rath Yatra is coming very soon, so let us decide the date after Rath Yatra. So this King Narsimha, he agreed. And when the Rath Yatra day arrived, before the Rath Yatra day arrived, Purushottam Dev sent an invitation to King Narsimha to come and join for Rath Yatra. But because this king was quite busy with the affairs of the kingdom, he sent his chief minister to go there. So this chief minister comes, and on the day of Rath Yatra, after Pahandi Vijay, when Chhera Pehera is taking place, he sees that Purushottam Dev is taking a broom in his hand and sweeping the floor. And this chief minister is astonished to see this scene. And he says that we will not give our daughter, the royal daughter of Kalinga province, will not be given to a street sweeper. This Purushottam Dev, he is sweeping the road like a street sweeper. So we will not give our daughter in marriage to this king. And with this thought, he goes back. He doesn't say anything at that time, but he comes back and informs King Narsimha. And Narsimha also, he says that we will break the marriage, we'll break the engagement. And this news is sent to Purushottam Dev, and Purushottam Dev becomes really very angry because he was serving the Supreme Lord. And he was not sweeping for any ordinary personality. He was sweeping for Lord Jagannath. So out of anger, he gathers his soldiers and goes on a war with the Kalinga province. But unfortunately, King Purushottam Dev loses this battle. And he cannot believe it, because previously he won every battle by the mercy of Lord Jagannath. But now the king of Kalinga defeats Purushottam Dev, and in a disheartened state he comes back to Puri. He is not able to enter the Puri temple, but somehow in the evening he starts entering, and at that time he meets a sadhu. And this sadhu asks Purushottam Dev, "You look very sad, what happened?" Purushottam Dev explains the whole thing, and the sadhu says that when you were going on a war with Kalinga province, did you take permission from Lord Jagannath? And Purushottam Dev understands his mistake. He says that, "No, I was in so much anger that I just gathered my forces and went on a war without taking permission of Lord Jagannath." And the sadhu says, "This is the reason you have been defeated. Now please go to Lord Jagannath and beg forgiveness." So Purushottam Dev comes to the temple of Jagannath. By that time, the altar was closed. So he is sitting in front of Lord Jagannath's altar and he is crying and he is repenting. And after some time, he hears the voice of Lord Jagannath. And Lord Jagannath tells King Purushottam that, "I am not upset with you. I am very pleased with you, and now I give you order that you collect your forces again and then you go on a war with Kalinga. And do not worry, this time myself and my brother Baladev, we will also join your war." And King Purushottam Dev is in so much ecstasy. The news spreads, and all the soldiers, what to speak of the soldiers, all the residents of Puri, they become excited to fight alongside Lord Jagannath and Baldev. So this very unique and wonderful army marches towards Kalinga province. And King Purushottam Dev is very, very excited, but then he has some doubts in his heart that will Lord Jagannath actually come with us to fight, or did he just say to console me? So he's not sure whether Lord will come or not. And again, Lord is situated in his heart as Paramatma. So the Lord, understanding this fact, he comes out of his temple. Now Krishna, blackish in color, has a white horse. Balaram, whitish in color, has a black horse. And they march before the king's procession begins. So Lord Jagannath and Baldev, sitting on the horses, they go before the king starts his march. And while they are going, Lord Jagannath feels very thirsty. And they happen to meet a very old woman who was selling chach, or buttermilk. So Lord Jagannath stops there and he drinks buttermilk, 1 cup, 2 cup, 3 cup. The whole pot is emptied. And then the old lady asks for money. And our Jagannath doesn't have any pockets. He doesn't carry any wallet. So what money will he give? So then Jagannath ji tells this old woman that, "I have this ring with me. And this ring you keep with yourself, and my king is coming from behind. When he arrives, you show him this ring and ask for money. He will give the money." And then the old woman, she agrees. She keeps the ring with her, and Jagannath and Baldev, mounting on their horses, they go in front. So they go in front and they challenge the king of Kalinga, and they defeat the king of Kalinga even before Purushottam Dev arrives. And Purushottam Dev, while he is on the way to Kalinga, happens to meet this old lady now. And this old lady blocks the path of King Purushottam Dev, comes and tells, "Give me my money." And Purushottam Dev is astonished. Then she shows the ring and she tells that, "Your 2 soldiers who came before you, one was black in color, other was white in color. The black in color was riding a white horse and the white in color was riding a black horse. And they emptied all my chach, all my buttermilk. And they did not even pay. So they gave me this ring to show to you so that you can pay. So now please pay me." And King Purushottam Dev, he is in so much ecstasy, because this is the ring which was available only on Jagannath's deities. Nowhere else this ring could be found. And looking at the ring, he can understand that it is the deities, or it is the Supreme Lord himself who has who has marched before us to make his words true. And in ecstasy, he not only pays the woman, but he donates the whole village to the woman. That woman's name was Manika, and there is still a village called Manika Patnam in Orissa. And this village is named after the old lady, because the whole village was donated by King Purushottam to this old lady. And when this happens, Purushottam Dev, he chastises the king of Kalinga, and he arrests Padmavati, the daughter of king of Kalinga, and he brings her to Jagannath Puri, and he hands over Padmavati to his chief minister and tells this chief minister that you should get her married to the best sweeper of our country, the best sweeper of our nation. And the chief minister is not an ordinary chief minister. He is very clever and intelligent. So after a year, when same festival is there, Jagannath festival, and Chera Pehra is happening, and the king, he has a broom in his hand and sweeping the floor, sweeping the road in front of Lord Jagannath's chariot. Exactly at that moment, the chief minister comes there with Padmavati and hands over Padmavati to King Purushottam, saying that you are the best sweeper. And then King Purushottam, understanding this, he marries with Padmavati. And King Purushottam and Padmavati give birth to an illustrious son whose name is King Prataparudra, whose pastimes are described in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially in the Madhya Khanda, in relation with the Rath Yatra. So this is the history or one of the pastimes related with this Chera Pehra. And I'll just take 5 more minutes and then we can stop. So after Chera Pehra, Rath Yatra actually begins, and lakhs and lakhs of devotees have assembled. About 15 lakh is the average number of devotees that gather uninvited, and that is the largest gathering. That is like the Guinness Book of World Record. Largest uninvited gathering in one single day. More than 15 lakhs. And the devotees are gathered in front of Lord Jagannath's chariot. First, Lord Baladev's chariot starts moving. Then Subhadra's chariot starts moving, and with great pomp and show, Lord Jagannath's chariot starts moving. And in this Rath Yatra, Lord Jagannath is the in charge. What does that mean? Lord Jagannath ji is in charge, that it means the Rath or chariot will move according to Lord Jagannath's will, not how the devotees pull. And it is experience of so many devotees that they are pulling the rope in one direction, but the Rath is going in another direction only. And sometimes the Rath stops at one place and it won't move. No matter how hard the people try, the Pandavas try, it won't move. And sometimes it so happens that once it starts moving, it will stop only when it arrives at Gundicha temple. So Lord Jagannath is in charge. And how many of you have been to Jagannath Puri? So the Grant Road, which is like the widest road, you can see it is like 200 or 250 feet wide, Grant Road. So such a wide road is there for Lord Jagannath's Rath Yatra. And if some devotees had gone to Jagannath Puri like 10-12 years back, they could actually notice the difference in Grant Road. The Grant Road earlier used to be small, but now it has become larger. And year on year it is becoming larger and larger. And how is that? There is the pastime of Lord Jagannath, because he is intoxicated. And an intoxicated person cannot walk in a straight line. So although the devotees are pulling, but because Lord Jagannath, he is intoxicated, and even his deities, Lord Jagannath's deity, when it is placed on the Rath, it is placed a little inclined so that Lord Jagannath's back can have some rest. because an intoxicated person cannot stand straight for long. So he's given a little rest, he's little inclined, he's given a little support from the back so that he doesn't fall out of intoxication. And because he is intoxicated, he is going here and there and here and there, and sometimes the Rath goes and crashes into some shop. Sometimes the Rath goes and crashes into somebody's home. And when that happens, the shop or the home is destroyed. But the government of Orissa takes care of that. They pay the due amount to that person. And they tell him that you can make your house or shop again, but not at the same place, at some other place. Because Lord Jagannath's chariot has touched that place is his now. So like this, year on year, he has been crashing so many shops and so many houses, and the Grant Road has been becoming wider and wider and wider like this. And it has become like 200 or 250 feet wide now. And Jagannath, sometimes in 2-3 hours he reaches Gundicha, sometimes he doesn't reach in one day. And by evening, if it doesn't reach, the Rath is made to stop over there. Because after the sun sets, Rath cannot be pulled as per the law of Jagannath Puri Pandas. So the next morning the Rath Yatra again begins, and then Lord Jagannath is made to come at Gundicha temple, and at Gundicha temple then Lord Jagannath is worshipped the whole day, whole night, and he is fed so many wonderful bhogas. And the next day in the evening at around 4 o'clock, there are many talented people that come to perform in front of Lord Jagannath, to please Lord Jagannath. So there are dancers that come and dance for the pleasure of Lord Jagannath. There are circus people, they will come and they will do their circus things in front of Lord Jagannath to please him. And in this way, so many people come and showcase their talents in order to please Lord Jagannath. And this goes on for like 4-5 hours, and at night around 8 or 9 p.m. Lord Jagannath's deities are brought down from the chariot, and then again Pahandi Vijay, Lord Jagannath ji is taken into Gundicha temple and placed on the throne. And there it is explained that the devotees worship Lord Jagannath in the mood of Rajavasi. And Lord Jagannath's prasad at his main temple is very world famous and very delicious. But 100 times more delicious is the prasadam at Gundicha temple, because that prasadam is made with the mood of Rajavasis. So it is much more sweeter and much more delicious. Although prasad is prasad, yet still it is much more delicious and sumptuous. And in this way he remains in Gundicha temple for 9 days. And on Dashami of Ashad, Lord Jagannath ji is brought back to his main temple, which is called as Bahuda Yatra. So in between, on the 5th day, there is Hera Panchami festival, wherein Lakshmi Devi is very displeased because Jagannath ji just left home, did not tell anything to Lakshmi Devi. So she is very unhappy. So on 5th day, Lakshmi Devi comes along with her associates to chastise Jagannath at Gundicha Mandir. But Jagannath ji is so engrossed in Vrindavan pastimes that he doesn't even open the doors. The Pandas of Jagannath don't even open the doors for Lakshmi Devi. So they just give a Mahaprasad garland of Jagannath to Lakshmi Devi and tell them, you go. And Lakshmi Devi is so upset and so angry that she starts banging on the door. She is brought in a big opulent palanquin by her associates, and they start banging on the door, but nobody is opening the door. So she goes around the temple to see if there is some way to sneak inside, but there is no way. So she comes to where the carts are placed, and out of anger, the Pandas, the associates of Lakshmi Devi orders the associates to break the cart. So some spokes of the wheels are broken out of anger by the associates of Lakshmi Devi, and Lakshmi Devi goes back. And after going back, in the main temple there are like 700 chulhas. All of them are broken by Lakshmi Devi out of anger. So that when my husband arrives, he will see that all the chulhas are broken, and I am so upset, then he will learn his lesson. He will not go out again. So in this manner, in this mood, the chulas are broken. Because Lord Jagannath is so much habituated to eat. And if he sees his kitchen only is destroyed, he will learn a good lesson. So thinking like this, the chulas are broken. And then on 10th day, Lord Jagannath is brought back, which is Bahuda Yatra. And when he is coming, he comes straight. He doesn't stop anywhere in between. There is one place where he stops, and at that place, lots and lots of bhoga is again offered. And then he goes back to his temple. And in this way, the Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath is completed. So on coming Friday is Jagannath Rath Yatra, and we are celebrating it in a very, very grand way here in Margaon, and so many preparations are going on. So let us all engage in various services in order to hold this Rath Yatra festival very joyously and for the pleasure of Lord Shri Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra. So thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.